Alright, so here's another little quick spiel, to hopefully destroy the seeking mind rather than to satisfy it. I was speaking to my girlfriend and she was encouraging me to, find a sponsor in AA because, we're sort of involved with that a little bit. And, there's nothing wrong, of course. If I said there's something wrong with any of these, uh, any type of practice or process, that would just be another sort of exclusionary thing by the mind. But at the same time, there can be discernment about certain things. You know, something like AA involves 12 steps of recovery, with the end point being a spiritual awakening, right? So step one is admitting powerlessness, and then it goes on and on until we get to this end point where a spiritual awakening should happen, or whatever. But what would that even be? I mean, as seekers, we look for an awakening, thinking we know what that means, right? I'm pretty sure the awakening is better than this. It must be. So I'm going to meditate and purify and do X, Y, and Z and make sure that I get to this awakening, which I've imagined. So I'm imagining, I'm playing in this sort of virtual world. It's like a video game that I don't know that I'm in, so to speak. So I'm imagining myself as some character in this virtual world of sort of different fragments of ideas and movements from here to there, and, and just being what is never really, oh, it's kind of boring. I'd rather focus into this process because I'm the star, right? That's how I can be the center. I can be an important center in my life if I'm in this process. But if I'm just resting as what is, well, that's kind of, I don't get to be special, that's for sure, because I don't get to be anything. I don't get to be anything separate as what I really am. It's even to say that, right? As what I am, like resting as what I am. Of course, that's another dualism. There's no way to talk about this without being dualistic. So the criticisms, that teacher's dualistic, but this teacher isn't. In a way, there's no such thing. There's no way to be uncompromisingly non-dual. It's impossible. But of course, we are the non-dual reality. But there's no way to present that in a way that the mind would call uncompromising. The mind can always make an issue with any sort of message, no matter what. Because I mean, the nature of the mind is judging, right? When I say the mind, it really, it's just one thought, believed. It's me believed. It's the belief in me, which is, language. There's no entity. That's the whole problem. See, this is the whole thing. There's no entities. So this is kind of irrelevant, right? There's no entity there or here or anywhere. So the whole thing is moot right off the bat. So it's like, okay, here's our, the spiritual homework, right? The mind will want an exercise. Because it'll, no pain, no gain, that sort of philosophy. The idea that we need to do something to have something pay off. But if you take it more literally, no pain, no gain. This is it. There's no pain here, or there's no suffering here, but there's no gain here either, right? So there's no sort of prize. There's no grabbing and possessing some sort of prize, but there's no problem either. So, the mind just isn't getting food when the message is, you could say, clear. There's just no food. There's nothing on offer. The mind is like, oh, okay, I'm looking for something. Let's see. I can kind of try to grab anything: hope, fear, anger, any sort of state to rest in, any kind of belief system. Christianity didn't work, AA didn't work, this didn't work, non-duality didn't work, but something must work, and I'm gonna sort of reach out and I'm just looking for it. I'm desperately sort of putting my claws out and hoping that I'll grab the big prize and pull it in, and then wonder why I'm still not quite here, or I'm still not quite it. Even though I have the prize, and I have the self that I always wanted. I did all the psychotherapy, and I became that self that I imagined. But now what? Well, maybe I'm not happy even. Maybe even with all the stuff that I set out to do, I did. You know, what does it say in the Bible? Vanity, the vanity, you know, I've done it all, I've seen it all, or whatever it was. And it's still not it. So maybe this is it. It's a sort of a gentle or not so gentle invitation, right? You know, the non-dual missionary isn't gonna come knocking at your door and, you know, this is it. Ah, I'm selling you nothing. This is it. It's, there's no need to sell it. What good would that be? It's already. I mean, the act of selling it would be it, rather than the idea of getting the product or service. It's all it anyway. Whatever's happening. See, we think we're missing it. We're not missing it. That's the whole problem. You know, we think that we're missing what is when we're on the boat. We're not waiting for the boat. We're not at the station waiting for the train. We're being hit by the train. You know, it's a full on, just full on craziness. It's just full on unfiltered isness. The only real function of this separate identity is, in a way, it's like the hide and seek thing, right? I pretended to be separate to find out I wasn't separate. But none of that really has any meaning. That's the beauty of it. It doesn't need any meaning. Meaning. It doesn't need it. We don't need meaning. This is crazy. I mean, of course, functionally, it seems like we need all kinds of meaning, right? But really, what we are is meaningless and exquisite. You know, it's fulfillment for no one. But it doesn't matter if it's not for no one, because there's no one to mind that it's no one. So it's very awful. I would rather have I would rather the becoming stuff work than have this as an entity, right? If I think I'm a separate entity, of course I would rather have all my work, my hard work, pay off in the way that I wanted. But then what? Then what? Then what would I do? Who would I be, right? If I don't see what I really am, then I'll be at it forever. Literally. Because I'll believe in time, right? I'll still be believing in this thing called time and process. How much process do I need to be exactly as I am? Which is really what this is all about. It's about being what we are, consciously, you could say. But even that's too much, right? Then there's this process called being conscious, or, you know, transcending the unconscious self. There's no need to. There's no need to even make anything disappear. There's no need to try to get rid of anything. There's all that's being pointed to is what is, or what you are, you could say, which is without border and without quality. It's without thingness. It's just direct, immediate is. This isn't very entertaining, you know. YouTube's full of entertaining videos, you know, all kinds of cool content and exciting things happening. And the mind likes that for a while until it's kind of bored, and then another exciting thing, it's bored. And it's not very fulfilling in one sense, because it's high maintenance. You need to always maintain the sense of being alive artificially. I'm alive. Oh, I'm not really alive. You know, because you're not really, no one's really alive as that imagined entity, because all the aliveness goes into this sort of very artificial sense of being a person. It spins around, and all the aliveness sort of gets run through this computer program called, you know, me and my life. And it's so draining. Literally, it drains aliveness into this construct. And people wonder why, you know, why things are so bleak. It doesn't have to. Well, it isn't. That's the whole thing. It isn't that way. It's a storyline. You know, you are this. Not any of this.